Yeah, we just
See, again, she knew. Oh, we're starting again? All right.
Oh, yeah. Hey, guys, welcome back to Whiskey and Wolves. My name's Evan. I'm the master trainer over at K-Pro Canine, and this, of course, is the illustrious Christopher Lamy of Canine Coaching with Chris. And today with us, we have my personal dog. He's an 8-year-old Belgian Malinois named Phantom, who is going to kind of hang out in what is the inaugural season of, or the inaugural episode of season 2,
Dose.
where we now have like a whole new studio that we can do this in, which we're really excited about. And, you know, we've got an awesome topic for you guys today. So like, we're going to be talking about kids and dogs today. But before we get into that and we continue to share time with my friend, Chris, why don't you tell us about this whiskey we're pouring today?
So this is Horse Soldier whiskey. This is one of those that we didn't, like most of the ones in our first season, we had like, I tried this one, or we have this one because of this, right? My personal favorite, Maker's Mark. It's a B Corp. That means a whole lot to me, blah, blah, blah. This one was a recommendation from a friend of a friend. Like not somebody I really, really know. He works with my significant other, Elizabeth. But one of those guys that like, when he gives you a whiskey recommendation, you kind of look at him like, I'm gonna listen to you.
Like he's like a cool guy type, right? Where it's like he knows.
You look like you know what you're talking about when it comes to certain things, and whiskey is one of those things. So I tried it, and I bought a bottle to bring here last season, and ended up drinking it all by myself, and it was delicious. So showing up today and seeing that it was one of the ones that you had was pretty awesome. Yeah. So I'm excited about trying it.
Well, I got it for the show, man, because I was like horse soldier, right? So like Marines are soldiers of the sea, and I'm assuming JTAC operators are soldiers of the air. So like, I'm just going to go with that on this one. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers. Welcome to season 2.
Yeah. Dude, that's unbelievably good.
My ice has melted into it in the best way. You know how like when you have pancakes and you have there's that perfect mix of like stiffness and syrupy?
Bro.
Right?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, everyone knows what I'm talking about. Everyone loves like pancakes.
It's like whenever the syrup saturates your pancake.
Yeah, but there's still firmness. It's not falling apart.
Squishy. Yeah.
That's what I have in my glass right now.
I'm telling you.
I like that a lot. That's a nice tasting whiskey.
It's like really beautiful.
Fuck, I love pancakes.
Here's the other thing that's honest, man, is that it's like super fucking smooth.
That's yummy. Yeah. This sat a little bit, as you know, it marinated a little bit. It's better now.
Yeah,
it's better after the ice melted a little bit, and I know there is some
a chance to breathe a little bit.
Yeah,
because
gotta let it breathe.
Full disclosure, we sampled.
We almost always do.
Yeah, we always do. Anyway,
don't judge us.
So kids and dogs, right? Part of the reason that we thought this up for the day, right? Besides
cool reason. Yep.
Yeah. Beside the fact that it's always a continued question is what to do about kids and dogs. Like, how does this work? Why does this work? The whole 9 yards. But the reason we thought about this today is also the other thing that's really cool in my life that's happening today is I have a 15-year-old today.
That's amazing.
So it's his birthday. I'll give a quick shout out to my kid. Gabe, I love you, man. I hope YouTube's around long enough that whenever I'm dead and gone, dude, you get a chance to see that on your 15th birthday, man. Like, we took time out of our day to look at you and say, man, I'm proud of you and I love you. So that's what I got, man.
I will cheers to that. I will cheers to Gabe. I will cheers to your parenthood. Yep. Heather, you as well. Gabe is a fantastic kid. I don't like many kids. I don't like many people. Gabe's a cool kid. And more to your point, I'm gonna jump on this real quick. This is a really cool thing that we get to do, right? As you mentioned earlier, like we get to come on here and talk about our favorite topic on a platform that is going to presumably outlast us.
Yeah.
Right. And so your 15-year-old kid, my 16, my 20-year-old kid, like they have a way of seeing who their parents actually are, right, in a very real way, and doing something we enjoy. Our parents didn't really have a chance to do that. Most of our parents didn't have a chance to do this.
Right.
And so it brings me back to something that you said on our very first episode last year when you did the first intro and you said, we're doing this for the right reasons.
Man.
And we are. Oh. This is one of those things, this entire thing, we're doing this for the right reasons, and we appreciate you being here.
Yeah. Listen, guys, without your love and support and your engagement, like we wouldn't be able to do this anyway. And so like, again, as always, like, subscribe, follow, like help us out. But also like just learn, right? Like we have this opportunity where we have a lot of knowledge about this specific topic that we get a chance to share with everybody on a regular basis. I know that I feel very privileged. I know that Chris feels very privileged. But before we go any further, there's another tradition we have here on Whiskey and Wolves that, you know, again, comes from some of our heritage and the way that we grew up, right? And that's a buddy check moment. Chris, I'm gonna check in with you, man. How have things been, man? It's been a couple months since we shot.
So, and before I answer, not to be rude, but like jump in a little bit for those of you who may have not seen in the first episode or first season, excuse me. Buddy checks are an important part of military culture.
Agreed.
Right? We all struggle, whether you're in the military or not. You struggle on a daily basis. Everybody is struggling with something that you may not understand. So the defense of that, right? Defending some of those negative thoughts and defending some of the suicides, right? To put it bluntly, comes on the front lines. You as my friend, I need to know that I can come to you if I have a problem and vice versa. And we have that, and we are lucky to have that at the brotherhood that we have shared. Yep. And so with that, I encourage everyone to have at least that one person that you feel comfortable with sharing those intimate things. That being said, I don't want to jump in too heavy. It's been a rough summer. Not anything that I couldn't handle, not anything that didn't throw me too far for a loop, but life be lifing, man. Life is tough sometimes, especially tough for people that care, right? Yeah. And so this is one of those things that I get to come on and I know that I am in a safe, open place to enjoy myself and to speak about some things that I care about with people that I care about.
Yeah. No, I'm totally with you, man. And, you know, like, the summer was, I'm going to tell you, summer at 25 might go down for a lot of people in a man, this was kind of a really crappy summer kind of way, right? Like, I know that, you know, like my own check-in moment on this, like, you know, I've got a parent that was diagnosed with a super terminal illness that's, you know, going to cut our interaction short, I'm sure. Pretty heartbreaking that way. Trying to navigate forward through that was super challenging for me. You know, and then, you know, like we said in the last episode of last season, right? Like I lost my dog. And, you know, in this particular time in America, business is not what it was 2 years ago. It's not what it was last year.
Nothing is like it was 2 years ago this time.
And so we've had this huge culture shift. And that has been, it's been a struggle to start to cope with as well, you know? And so like, yeah, I mean, struggles are happening. But it is, with guys like you and, our roommates from the military and some of the other folks that we lean on, rely on, right? That we make it through, because I think it's honest that we say that, man, it takes a village, right? Like that's like a really cute, hey, it takes a village to raise a child kind of an idea. But like what I would say is it takes a village to do almost anything. We all have strengths and weaknesses in our lives. We all have differences in our abilities for engagement. And man, we really need to leverage each other more, draw closer in community, not further away. And man, I feel privileged every day that I have that in this relationship, if for nothing else.
In this relationship, and what better way to expand this relationship than allowing people to learn how to get some of that security, trust from their best friend.
Oh,
right?
For sure.
Most of what we are going to discuss this episode, is how do you set yourself up and how do you set your dog up to have the best life together that you can have. So regardless of what's going on out there, right, you still have your interior, your inside piece. You still have the relationship with your family, with your close friends, and with your dog.
Absolutely.
Your relationship with your dog can give you so much. Yeah. And what better way to sit here and drink whiskey and enjoy a friendship than to help people learn how to better have a relationship with their dog. So again,
absolutely. I mean,
awesome.
That's the mission statement of Canine Coaching with Chris. It's also an amalgamation of the mission statement for K-Pro Canine, right? Helping people and dogs live more abundantly together is exactly what we're about, right? And so like getting in here and really understanding what we need to be doing, when we need to be doing those things, in that vein of proactivity, you know, I think is really helpful. Buddy checks are proactive. It's like, hey man, before there's a problem, like let me check in and make sure that we're there, right? 22 a day by some people's estimation is only half, man. I was watching another podcast the other day where they were like, man, that number is variable based on these other things.
It absolutely is. Yeah.
Cow, you know what I mean? So like we have a much larger problem in and out of the military community, based on, like just
the struggles of life. Life can be tough.
I think based on getting lost right here. Where like that dopamine button that we get to push over and over again in social media and scrolling and TikToks. And I'm saying, keep watching us, but pay attention to your hygiene in that way as well.
Yes.
Like digital hygiene, I think is a thing that doesn't get talked enough about. Right. And I'm not an expert in it. And so like, I shall digress into the thing that I am an expert in. And we're going to start talking about dogs here in just a second. But
I gotta say, when you were doing this, I was seriously thought you were talking about being at a strip club. So I'm glad you were talking about social media. I mean, I think that needs to be curbed as well. Yeah. But the social media is just as important. Yes.
Saying, I mean, like if I gotta make it rain, it's gonna be on you, big guy.
Perfect.
All right. So kids and dogs, right? So like I say that as my wife's in the room just blushing, right? But like.
Kids. Oh yeah. Hi, Heather.
Hi, Heather.
Hey. Say hi.
Welcome back to the show this season. Thank you for continuing to produce this for us. We really appreciate you. But kids and dogs, dude.
Very, very, very vast topic. We both get questions about this all the time, and they can be kind of a spectrum of questions of kids and dogs. Hey, I just got a I just got a dog and I'm bringing it in my household with 3 kids. Or, hey, I just found out my wife is pregnant. I'm bringing a child into a house with a dog that's never had a child before. Right. There's a lot of issues here. And one of the things that I think is important is to understand the psychology of what is actually happening, right?
I agree, man.
Dogs do not look at children the same way they look at us, at adults. And ultimately, one of the things that we decided we wanted to talk about first is safety. Yeah, right?
Absolutely. Safety is paramount in everything we do. Right?
Everything we do is balance between safety and freedom in my mind, right? Like, and by that, what I mean is I want to give my dog as much freedom to be itself as I possibly can, as long as they can do it safely.
I agree.
And so when we're talking about kids and dogs, and we're talking about kids and dogs and safety, you have to know that it is your responsibility as that dog owner. It is not the child's responsibility. It is not the dog's responsibility. It is 100% our responsibility to make sure that that interaction is safe.
But I get calls from parents all the time that are like, but it's my child's dog.
Sure. And there is a certain age, and we'll kind of discuss what you think that age is and what I think that age is. There is a certain age where a child can be responsible enough to have a dog and be responsible for that dog. And having a dog as a child is a wonderful thing. It teaches responsibility. It teaches empathy. It teaches, I could list 100 other things, right? Yeah. It teaches a lot of things to a child.
Absolutely.
But there's a certain age that you have to get. A 5-year-old, a 6-year-old is not mentally capable of taking care of a dog. They may be able to help you feed that dog, but they're not going to be able to understand, oh, this dog is showing me teeth. That means that it's upset. There's a whole host of things, not even just related to like, is there going to be aggression? But like, is this dog going to be cared for? Is this kid going to be learning the lessons? Or is this a relationship that the two are capable of maintaining?
Yeah. And the reality from my perspective on that is that most kids before the age of 11 really don't have the opportunity and availability, right? Research and like the DSM-5 TR7, like pretty solid on this, right? That the age of abstraction happens in people sometime between like 11 and 13, right? So like, ladies, y'all come on a little bit earlier than us guys do.
I'm still waiting on mine.
Yeah, we know we're a little Neanderthalic. It's fine. But the reality of the situation is that abstraction is really important. And the concept there is the ability to kind of suss out right and wrong, right? So before that, kids don't have a moral compass.
Well, and I'll add on, not only to think of right and wrong, but also to think of something outside of yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Because we are very egotistical creatures.
Yeah.
We are self-focused, and until a certain age, we have to be. evolutionarily. We have to be self-focused. So, and you brought up a good point, 11, 12, 13, whatever the age is, your child, right? It's a subjective thing. People mature at their own rates. But understand that you need to ultimately, even if it's a 15-year-old Gabe, right? You are still responsible as long as that child and that dog is in your household.
100%.
And even though I would fully say that Gabe, go get Gabe a dog, he is capable. Still your responsibility as the parent.
My son will not be capable until I no longer have to remind him to brush his teeth, right? And like, that's a really important criteria for me, right? Like, dude, if you are doing all the other things in life without having to be asked, right? It shows a level of maturity that you're available for. The thing that I'm really getting at here is that, like, man, I don't know about you, but at least at K-Pro, we've had so many people. I'm talking about like an armload just in the last month that call and go, hey, I got my dog, I got a puppy and a baby at the same time. And it's like, the thing that goes through my mind every time, dude, and I say this kind of tongue in cheek, right, is, do you hate yourself? Like, are you kidding? Like, you got double, you know what I mean? Like, you got double the responsibility in this massive change of life because there's an old wives' tale out there that says, oh, my dog and my kids should just totally get along.
Oh my God. I wish we could be completely honest in like every single everyday interaction. I just had this vision of you on the phone listening to this person like, oh, so you're an idiot. Okay. No, got it.
What it really is like, and I've said this to the person that I feel like I can get away with it, right? Because I'm on the phone with somebody and they're like, hey man, I just got a new puppy, and it seemed to be weird with my baby. And I'm like, how old's your baby? And they're like, oh, my baby's like 6 months old. And I'm like, how old's your puppy? And they're like, oh, we just got him. He's like 12 weeks old. So he's like 3 months old, right? And like the thing that runs through my mind that I've actually said to people is I go, so you're a glutton for punishment, huh? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, because you're going to get punished in poop and pee for like the next year.
All over, like everywhere.
Like every facet of your life is going to be wrapped up in poop and pee for the next year because you got a baby and a dog at the same time. You know what I mean? Like the baby's going to pee. The baby, you're going to, if he's a male baby especially, like you're going to lay a baby down. You're going to uncover that diaper. He's going to smoke you in the eye with.
I don't know one person that's had a male baby that didn't get peed on. It's gonna happen.
Right? And then because it gets cold, right? Then all of a sudden I gotta pee, right? And so like this is life stuff, right? Like it is what it is. So like the baby pees on you from this direction, right?
While the puppy's making a mess over there. Yeah.
Peeing on your leg, or he's around the back of the couch leaving you a gift. And it's like, dude, what were you thinking?
And like, we can have fun with this idea, but like it also really can be dangerous in a way, right? Like this dog is learning how to fit into your household.
Right.
You are learning how to be a father or mother.
And you're stressed out.
And you're stressed. You're not sleeping. You're not thinking properly. You're all of your routines are completely changed. Even if it's your second or third kid, your routines are changing because you... And so it's not an ideal time to get a dog. Now, other situations, right? You have a 3-year-old dog and you decide that y'all want to have a baby and you bring a baby in. That can still form some challenges. Yeah. And on the opposite end, you have, young kids and you decide to go get a dog and bring it into the household. That also brings different challenges.
Especially like if the dog that you're bringing in or the dog that you already have, it has like stranger danger stuff.
Stranger danger, or if it has any negative associations from its past life, right? Like if dogs hold on to trauma and they hold on to things. If it was abused by a child, it's going to remember that.
And here's the weird thing about it. You just said a thing I want to focus on for just a minute, right? So like the idea of being abused by a child is something that's not really readily acceptable in our society, right? Mm-hmm. Like this idea that kids, we almost have this thing in our society here in the US in a lot of sectors that I would almost call like, and I'm gonna just be weird for a minute and say pedo worship, right? Because it's like the worship of people's children. The number of calls that I get that are like, my dog should put up with whatever my children do.
Sure. Right? Okay. Yeah. Like, yeah.
That's not realistic.
It's not realistic. Absolutely not.
Realistic.
No, it is not.
Like your kids need to have rules around your dogs. Your dogs need to have rules around your kids. right? And until one or the other of them, and it's never going to be the dog, gets to the place where they can tell right from wrong. Like from my perspective, and I even did this in my own home as a professional dog trainer for safety, because I've seen enough kids with face scars and scars on their arms, like from an unfortunate one-time interaction with the family dog who we all love and is still living with us, right? Like we didn't put him down on the backside of this, right? Like I just now, like my kid now has a scar in his leg, kind of thing, right? I didn't let my kid around my dogs. This is me. I didn't let my kid around my dogs unsupervised until he was old enough himself to know right from wrong.
I agree 100%. And this is a concept that we have an issue with. Like, what do you mean I want to keep them separate? I mean, you're going to keep them separate unless you are going to be there focusing on them. Yeah, it's a great idea. It is the best
Take this
idea.
It is, especially if you have like this little baby, right? This little baby to your grown dog looks like a pinky mouse that you might offer to a snake if you just hold it out, right? Like
not to mention the smells.
Yeah, but this is the other thing that I see people do, like even on the internet. That like, what are you doing?
Please don't do that. Yeah,
which is like, hey, look at my baby dog, and it's like, how many other things do you hold out like that for your dog that aren't a toy? You know what I mean? And so like we have this apparent toy that you're handing me. And then whenever I go to engage it with my mouth, like any other toy that you hand me, because I don't recognize it as human, right? Babies smell different than adults.
And that's an important distinction.
Yeah.
Right? Dogs do not recognize babies. And even to a certain age, children, they do not recognize them as humans. They don't look at them in the same way that they look at us.
Yeah. If you look at toddlers, and I would say even up to like almost age 5, right? Like they don't have
5 or 6.
Yeah. They don't have 5 or 6. Sure. They don't have the same fluid locomotion that we do. They don't walk like normal people. They literally toddle, which is why we call them toddlers. Right?
Well, and they're just not as aware of themselves. Like just for very good example, I had my nephew Wyatt over last week. He came up.
Wyatt?
I think he's 6. I really should know that. I'm pretty sure he's 6. But I have a new Aussie in my house, right? Ooh. And like, I mean, he dropped a toy and he just ran over and grabbed the toy. He didn't do anything wrong. He wasn't thinking anything. He wasn't being malicious at all, but he did it in a way that Aussie was terrified. Right. And so if I weren't there watching, it very easily could have turned into a situation where no one was wrong. Right. This dog was sitting here and all of a sudden a young creature runs into his space, or her space, runs into her space. She's already scared. She's already unsure of what this thing is, right? Yeah. And she would not have done anything wrong, but besides protect herself. Yeah. And so, and that's where there's a whole host of potential issues. Yeah. And I guess the main point around what we're talking about right now, I love the idea that you said that dogs don't look at little children as humans. The idea of separating them is not a bad idea. Yeah. Right.
And take it for what it is. Like, I used some baby gates to manage space whenever Gabe was little. Right. I used leashes at times to help out. Kenneling is an essential tool for showers and cooking and other things whenever I can't take my eyes off this situation. Because one of the things that I know about children, right, is that children will do, unfortunately, non-malicious engagements with dogs, right? That the dog goes, I'm going to correct you as though you were my peer, right?
100%. And how do dogs correct? Exactly.
I correct with my mouth.
With their mouth, absolutely.
Right? They're not going to smack them across the face.
Your dog is not being aggressive when they bite your child in the face. They're correcting behavior.
In the same way that they would correct each other. And the thing to remember here is that dogs have the same basic cognition as a toddler.
Yes.
Right? So like until your kid, and this is great because like you said it and gave it a little bit more credence than I did. Because I think until they're about 5 years old, right? But like 5 or 6 is probably really solid. 7 and 8, we start to see kids come on to a different idea where they're starting to understand like kind of the economy around life. Like they're growing into more than just id, but they're starting to have ego in that place. Right.
And they're starting to see that there's something outside of themselves. 100%. Right. But before then, everything is mine.
And they sound like what are
seagulls.
Are they dodos or seals from
Seagulls from
seagulls?
We're starting to think
Ice Age?
No.
What was that?
Mine. Finding Nemo.
Was it Finding Nemo?
Finding Nemo, the seagulls and Finding
Was
Nemo.
it Finding Nemo?
Am I right?
Or was it
No,
the King Julian thing? You remember
I've got two. I've got two
Finding
girls.
Nemo.
Finding Nemo. Okay. Heather
Definitely.
came to a Finding Nemo. That's great. Cool shit. And so like whenever we look at this, right? Like that's kids for the first while. And man, are they ever that. You put two toddlers down, you put one toy in front of them, somebody gets
There's
smacked
gonna
in the
be a
face.
fight. Yeah.
There's gonna be a toddler fight. And take this for what it is. There's a piece of me that has always wanted that to be legal somehow, like street fights with Kimbo Slice, where we just make toddler fight. Anyway, I'm a bad person. I get it. But here's the deal, right? Is that they just don't know better.
Right.
They don't have abstraction. They can't philosophically, engage ethics. Your dog will never have that, right? We've said that before on the podcast. Like your dog's never going to know right from wrong.
Never.
So like every one of those videos out there that's like, oh, my dog's standing here and he's obviously sad because he tore up a roll of toilet paper. No, he's sad because he can see that you're displeased.
He knows that he's in trouble. He knows he did something wrong.
But
excuse me, not wrong. He knows that he did something that's going to lead to a consequence.
Exactly. He knows something that
Dogs, just like we said, infants, dogs are very selfish.
what I really think, dude, is I think that they just know you're mad, right? And so they're gonna perform appeasement behaviors, and they're gonna become avoidant and not look at you and act guilty, right? When they can't actually be guilty from a psychological standpoint, right? From a psychological standpoint, these animals don't know what they did was wrong, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't have done it to begin with, right? So, and kids are much that same way until the age of abstraction, right? Where they can really like argue over ethics, right? And man, have I seen that in spades in my son over the last few years. When it came on for him, I would say he was about 11 and a half or 12, right? And anybody who's had kids that have lived through this era, man, can you see this like right off the rip? Where it's like all of a sudden, one day my kids started asking me questions that they'd never asked me before, right?
I love that.
Dad, what do you think about blah? How does this work? Why is that wrong? Why is this going on, right? And it's like, yeah, dude, you are starting to solve the world's problems, right? Like you're starting to philosophically engage and begin to pontificate amongst your peers. Fantastic.
I think this is a really interesting point. I want to kind of deviate just a tiny bit. This is how I know you are a good father. Okay. Because when your son started asking these questions, you didn't go, buddy, I've been working all day. Do you mind? Like, because a lot of times these are really silly questions, right? To us.
Man, you're going to get my feels in a minute.
Right. But this is really important.
Yeah.
I watch kids, I won't say who, I watch kids go to their parents and ask these silly questions and watch their parents and just dismiss them, right?
Yeah,
and
I've seen that, yeah.
This kid is learning. You are describing learning, right? And you're watching your kid grow. You're watching your kid evolve. You're watching your kid like recognize and realize things. And it's beautiful that you encourage that and not discourage it.
Sure.
And I think that I see that one of the things that you and I have talked about a lot on and off air is like training these dogs helps us understand this a lot more.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
And training a dog is a whole lot like raising kids.
I think so.
It's a whole lot the exact opposite as well, right? It's not the same thing, but it's a lot like raising kids. So it helps me see raising kids a little bit differently. And I just wanted to point that out that like when your kid is at that point, and there's different maturity levels and different maturity bumps where they start to ask some of these questions, take a moment and just, good for you, buddy.
Man,
let's talk about this.
Like,
let's answer those questions.
That's like
sorry, I know that's not where we were going, but like,
great. Yeah, I know. Because like, here's what I'll say about it is this. I approach dog training very similarly to the way that I raise my child, right? Which is to say this, man, it's I would attribute this in my life to two sources. Of course, the main source is Walt Whitman on this. And the secondary source is that wonderful show called Ted Lasso. Right. And if you guys haven't seen
you've been trying to get me on that. I still haven't watched it
because it's super good. Right. But like Ted Lasso, there's a moment in Ted Lasso where Jason Sudeikis looks at this kind of criminal figure in his mind. And he goes, man, you know, there's a little monologue here. And he says, I would rather be curious than judgmental. And like, that's a Walt Whitman quote, right? That says, hey man, I would rather be curious than judgmental. And so if my kid or my dog is asking me questions, because we've covered before, dogs definitely ask questions, right? If my kid or my dog is asking me a question, I would rather be curious than judgmental, right? I would rather look at them and go, I want to know what's behind that. That's who I am as a person, right? And it's who you are too. I've seen it in you.
Oh yeah. And it's kind of, you saying that brings up another point, right? Like, this brings us back.
Yeah.
If you can sit there and be curious rather than critical, that's gigantic.
Huge.
And you're going to learn a whole lot about a lot of things.
Whatever you're working.
Because I have a nephew, Ryder, right? His dad lives with me periodically, and he's a flight attendant. But anyway, I get to see a lot of their interactions. And this kid comes up with the goofiest questions, right? Yeah. But like, some of the questions he comes up with, it like really makes you sit there and like, huh. Yeah, no, I honestly have not thought about that.
Yeah.
The questions your dog asks you are going to make you have those same like thoughts, like, oh, can make you have those same thoughts. I've never looked at the world that way.
Yeah.
Right. And that I think is what I really, really, really appreciate about this position that we are in the job that we have, is that I get to sit there and look at that perspective from a whole bunch of different dogs, right? And everyone that is watching this, you're only watching this because you care about your dog or about dogs.
Yeah.
There is so much more that they have to teach you.
Look, dogs are, you know, it's really interesting. I'm you know me, man, I'm like a little bit of a conspiracy theory nut. Like, I love conspiracy theories. I don't buy into like any of them really, right? Like, they're fun thought experiments for me often, right? And so like, I don't go way down the rabbit hole, right? But one of the things that keeps on popping on my social media lately, because like I am that guy, right? That's like, ooh, what's QAnon doing? Ooh, what's, you know what I mean? Like whatever it is, right? Like
showing you all types of stuff.
Are we at a pizza place right now? Like, I don't know, right? Is it ancient aliens today? Like, what is it for me, right? Like, I'm just interested by what I would call almost like the mosaic of humanity, right? Like how people are thinking, what's going on. It was part of the reason that I minored in sociology, is because I want to understand how people think and why, even in groups, right? But I digress. I say all that to say this, right? Whenever we talk about like what we can learn from dogs, even Edgar Cayce, who was a massive psychic and, you know, like had all these Nostradamus-like premonitions, like in the early part of last century, you know, was really solid on the idea that like dogs are our spiritual guides and they're here to help us achieve who we are.
I agree 1,000%.
I think that's, I take it for what it is. In some ways, I think that dogs do teach us about, and this is the way that I like to say it personally, I think our dogs do teach us about our better angels. Right?
Your better angels?
Yeah. Those places in us where we make the better choice. Those places in us where we are reinforced in doing what's good.
Well, because the dog, when you think of dogs, you think of love, right? They are the epitome of love.
Yeah. And take it for what it is. I brought this guy on the show today because we're talking about kids and dogs. And I wanted the audience to kind of look at a dog that is a highly trained, highly specific individual, who's been living with me as a professional dog trainer his entire life, right? Since he was 5 months old, I got him. And he has helped me build the business that I own. And still, you will probably see him, and did in the early part of the show as we got excited, have like some interaction with us that I'm like, buddy, can you choose to
will
lay
you
down
please
right now
stop?
Yeah. You're like, can you choose to lay down instead? Because like the thing that you're doing right now is something that I'd prefer less. That's to say this, is that dogs for us always produce kind of almost anomalous ideas from time to time. They're still individuals. They're id driven. It's about them, right? From a human psychology idea, right?
Completely.
Like they're id driven. It's whatever's happening in the moment in their brain that they want to be engaged with, right? And it does take some impulse control building, and it does take some great vocabulary for us to really teach them what it is that we want from them. And so let's talk about real quick. And I want to kick this to you real quick to start, but I want to talk about this idea where like, what are some of the most frequent questions that you get asked from, parental standpoint of, hey, and let's start here. I'm integrating a brand new baby into a home that already has a dog, right? Okay. What's some of that great advice that you give people? Like if I called you today, Chris, and I said, hey man, my wife is like 10 and a half months pregnant. I mean, she's going to go in
right there. Yeah.
Right. Like she's late. We know that this is going to be like a 10-pound baby. But like, man, I've got this dog at the house, man. He was our first child, right? He's the first kid that we brought home with us. His name's Ajax. I went personal there, but like his name's Ajax, and he's like a bulldog, man. And I just want to know what I should be doing. Everybody says all these things, right? But I want to know what I should be doing before I bring my baby home into the space where I've had this animal that like my wife and I treated like our first kid. Mm-hmm. Like, what should I do?
So this is a really great question. I actually have a dog in my house right now that you described. Her name is Beignet. She's a 5-year-old doodle, party doodle, black and white. She's beautiful. Has a 1-year-old sister, I think, maybe brother. I actually don't know. And the parents asked me all of the questions that you just asked. Yeah. Right. I mean, everything.
It's like right down the list, right?
Before I go into that, I want to, anybody that like, if you're still listening and like listen to your talk up before this question, listen to it again. Yeah. That was gold. I could dissect that piece by piece by piece, sentence by sentence. That was a lot of good information. Well, thanks. What I learned from all of that to encapsulate that is your dogs have something to teach you and they're never done teaching you. Your dog is not perfect.
Let's go.
Your dog needs your continuous guidance. Your dogs are constant learners. They are individuals. They are autonomous. They have their own way of thinking. They are going to challenge you. Yeah. That doesn't mean they're bad.
No.
That means they are a creature there to help.
Dogs can't help
you. Sidney Michael, and I've told you this numerous times, right? That quote of like, when the student is ready, the master will appear. Sidney Michael is my master.
Say it again.
100%. 100%. Sidney Michael was my master that was sent to me because I was ready for someone to teach me. Yes, and he absolutely did. And I am sitting here today because of Sidney Michael. Now, to Beignet and to this 5-year-old dog who was treated like a child for 4 years. And now she has a 1-year-old brother or sister. I wish I knew what it was.
And let's quantify this a little closer. Like, and I don't know this about Beignet, but I could say this about my personal experience here, right? I mean, I have puppy pictures that go like month to month to month of Ajax's growth. Mm-hmm.
Right. And so does Beignet's parents. Yeah. Oh yeah.
My wife bought that dog for me in 2006 for my birthday, right before she was going on deployment, right? Like the first deployment that we were going to weather together after we got together. Right. And I'm like, dude, this dog brought me all the way home.
So let's talk about what Ajax and what Beignet went through when that dog came home.
Yeah.
Right. Dogs, I believe.
Yeah.
Can understand when a woman is pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
They don't know what's happening, but they know something's happening.
I think they know a little bit more than we give them credit for.
I would believe you there.
Because I watched one of my dogs do this to my wife. She's big, pregnant, right? And like one of my dogs came in and put her nose on the belly button and would breathe deep on the belly button, like she could smell through the skin. So, almost. And again, I want to parse that out. There is some understanding there, right? In the same way that like when you have a 4-year-old daughter or 4-year-old son, there is an understanding that like, oh, mommy's having a baby. Yep. They don't understand what that actually means, right? They don't understand that their life is about to change completely. And it does. When a new baby comes into the home, here's what I want to talk about first. The smells change. Big time.
The smells that follow a baby are there. What happens to the woman's body, what the baby, the actual baby itself brings a different smell, right? This is vital to your dog. It may not seem like a lot to you, to your dog, it is everything, okay? So there's going to be an initial shock. There's going to be a literal shock in that this place that I live in, that I call home, this place that is my safe place, just changed completely and entirely.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I think owners need to understand, is that when you bring a child in, it's not just, oh, we have a kid now. Everything changes, right? For a dog, I think about vacuuming. You know why dogs hate vacuums? Not because they're loud, not because they're moving. It changes the scent map of their place, right? You're sucking up smells and it smells different. So everything changes.
Hey, pause right there real quick. Say that again.
Vacuum cleaners.
What
does a vacuum cleaner do?
Some dogs are afraid of the vacuum cleaner.
Why?
Some dogs run from the vacuum cleaner. And I think that you're right. Just now, I'm like, dude, you just gave me a piece of thing that I haven't thought about maybe ever, which is
it's so simple, but it's correct.
It moves and it's loud.
It changes the smell of, it changes the dynamic of the entire place, right? And so, again, imagine mom coming home with everything that happened to her body and everything that this baby is bringing in, all the toys and everything. Not to mention your schedule changes, your routine changes. You don't have time to take that dog on your morning walk anymore.
You can't play ball.
You don't have time to play ball. You don't have time.
You're no longer your focal
And
point.
even if you do have the time, you don't have the patience.
No.
We've both been parents. It's exhausting.
Dude, especially in the first 6 months.
It's exhausting. You're a freaking zombie.
And I'll give this to anybody who's having a kid that needs some help, right? Because this was massively pivotal for us, right? So I would let my wife go to bed early and I would stay up late and I would catch the late feeding so that she could get at least 6 hours of an abridged sleep. And then she would catch the mid feeding while I slept through the mid feeding and caught the next morning feeding, right? So we both got like a full 6 hours.
And so that's a really great example, right? Your schedule, you weren't doing that shit before you had a baby.
No.
Right? So your schedule completely changes. Not only does that change
until 3 a.m.
your physiological being, right? Like you're a different person. That dog understands that, oh, now you are a different person. Also, they're not getting as much attention.
Dude,
right?
I need an ice cube. Can I call for some support real quick?
Please.
Can
Heather.
I get some support?
Heather.
Yeah, and then I got some stuff to say about what you're saying.
I bet you do have some stuff, man. But just some ice cube support real quick. Here, just airdrop me in that tumbler and we'll take care of it from there. Thank you.
So there are.
Wait.
Wait, do you want to jump? Okay, please. Yes.
I gotta say, sorry. Because you were talking about the smells.
I mean, it is your son's birthday. I guess we'll allow it.
And pregnancy.
I know, right?
But I gotta say that, with all the other things you guys have talked about,
Grosses.
scent and how much they can smell like hormones and they can hear heartbeats, mom's smell changes so much.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Even
Interesting.
if you're not
This perspective, man, really important.
even if you're not breastfeeding, that stuff's still there for the period before it goes away for at least the first couple of weeks, no matter what.
The actual lactation milk. Yeah. That's a good point.
Breastfeeding, that stuff's around.
Yeah.
While you're pregnant, your smells are changing because they can smell the baby.
Full of calories.
They can
I'm here for you, bud.
they can probably even hear the baby's heartbeat
I agree.
whenever they're laying
I agree
up,
completely.
Yeah, research would indicate that if they can hear our heartbeat, that amount of skin and muscle should stop.
Well, I mean, they can smell cancer.
Yeah.
They're gonna smell.
exactly,
They're gonna smell
right?
a baby
So,
inside of them.
know something.
They're their person.
They can smell the baby.
I agree. So I guess sorry, go ahead.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, Heather's still in on
always
this.
teases me.
I love it.
Whenever I bring up this portion of it, because he likes anyway. Because dudes, right? So anyway, he likes to tease me about it, but I wholeheartedly, with all the things that he has ever exposed me to about dogs, more every single time believe that dog knew when I went into labor and told me when I was in labor.
I 100% believe
That
it.
dog who hardly ever barked at anything, you would hardly know he was in the room most of the time, just like this guy that Evan's paying right now. You could have completely forgotten he was here. But that dog too hardly ever barked at anything and followed me around the house while I was having
Your beginning contractions.
and barking at me. And
I believe it
as soon as my walker
100%.
broke, he just sat down like, dude, I've been trying to warn you
And
for
this
hours.
and this is what's super important is because your dog recognizes way more than you understand that they recognize.
Yeah. And the
And so when your
natural
dog
part
is
of
just
what's
walking around barking or walking around staring at you or whatever, they're not being bad. They're not being assholes. They know something you don't know.
Unless
Right?
it's demand bark.
Pay attention. I mean, dogs can be assholes. I'm not saying they're not.
Sure.
They absolutely. What do you want? What are you looking at me like that for?
Nothing. He's just
Yeah, but sometimes they were saying with demand barking, like there was that dog in, what was it, Australia or something that notified the parents that there was like some sort of gas leak or.
Well, and they
like,
do that.
some sort
They
of
do that
chemical going
all
on.
the time. Lassie did it on TV for years. Right?
I mean, seriously, this is my favorite. Is somebody was like, somebody called today and they were like, "Hey, can you teach a dog to track?" And I'm like, "Track what?" Right? And what they really wanted was like article retrieves, right? And I'm like, "Bro, we don't build like a Timmy in the well moment at K-Pro, right? Like Timmy's in the well.
Now you can teach your dog how to play hide and seek. Right? I mean, that's
for the record, I can teach a service behavior called get help for the record. However, I typically would say that most dogs on their own are not going to lassie Timmy out of the well, which is, I think, what people are expecting when they get a child and a dog at the same time.
So here's what I tell people about service animals actually all the time. And they ask me like, well, can my dog do this? Can I teach my dog to do this? Can I teach my dog to do this? The answer is yes, period. Whatever the question is. Do you have the time and energy to teach it? Right? Dogs are capable of anything, relatively speaking.
I've seen some dogs do some crazy things, me and you.
Absolutely. Especially dogs like this, right? These mals are different creatures. Don't get a mal.
Please don't get them out.
But these dogs are capable of learning any sort of task or job that you need them to do, including hide and seek or finding or anything like that.
I agree.
These dogs are understanding things on a level that we just don't understand.
Right.
And that's where, kind of going back to our point earlier, they have a lot to teach us. Yeah. So how I think the important step here for, at least for this podcast situation is, okay, what do we do about it? Right. Okay. My dog is seeing these things. My dog is experiencing things. What do we actually do about it? Right. Here's my best advice, right? If you are having a change in scenario, if you're having a change in situation, you're bringing a baby home, give that dog a few days to adjust.
Yeah.
Period.
And I'm talking about
like
hey,
don't let them interact. Don't take that baby and let them see it. They don't need to see it. Let them. It's adorable. Really glad we have a dog on this episode or on this show. I don't know why we didn't last season, but to just let your dog be. I'll go to like dog introductions, right? When you meet a dog, what does everyone want to do? Hi, buddy. That dog doesn't want that.
Yeah, no.
That dog does not want you coming up to them. And we can have a whole episode on that as well. Don't walk up to a dog. They don't want you to, right? They don't want you to pet them. They don't want you to pet them.
Here's my favorite. You want to see when a dog has like a controlled response on this, right? Pete, say hi to my friend.
He said, say hi, don't shake. Thank you, buddy.
But even the stress of me giving him a command created the shake because he goes, okay, I got to go say hi to somebody that I don't see every day.
And the shake is a sign of stress. Absolutely.
Right? But here's a controlled response to stimulus where like I built a behavior that my dog can go say hi to a friendly stranger or a friend in this case, right? Where like your kid that's coming home is brand new, right? And even there, we saw like just a little stress response as he went through. Now, was that a big deal to him? No.
Not at all. A new baby is. And here's an important point that I try to stress to as many people that will listen, and you will hear me say this over and over and over again on this season. Dogs are dealing with more fear than we recognize.
So much.
Would you agree?
Yes.
A ton. Dogs are fearful, and we don't give them credit for that. So, when a baby comes home, your dog is scared.
Yeah.
Period.
It's like, what is this little alien creature that kind of smells human?
So the easiest way that I can tell you to adjust to this and whatever your situation is.
Yeah.
Be patient. right? Don't rush this. Don't say, "Oh, I need to interact with it." No.
Oh, let me
take
introduce my
time.
Baby, my child,
let your dog hang out in the kennel while the baby is out, and then let your dog come out and sniff where the baby was while the baby is safely sleeping in the room, right? They don't need to interact. Your dog is going to be learning so much about that child just by sniffing where they were, what they're doing, right? The dog understands their environment through their nose.
Yep.
They don't need to touch things like we do, right? Yeah. They don't even really need to see things in the same way we do. Their visual aspect is important.
Yeah.
But the smells that they're going to learn from are the most important. So keep your dog separated from the new child, or if you have a new dog coming into a household with children, same thing. Just keep them separated for a little bit. It doesn't matter if they're 10 years old. Right? It doesn't matter if they're excited. If you're a little bit concerned, if that dog isn't just like one of those dogs that's just, they're fine.
Born happy, die happy.
Yep,
right?
which they're there. But if there's any concern, give them a couple days to adjust.
Question of concern.
Even a question. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, I would rather keep my dog and my kid ultimately safe.
Yes. Right? And equally as important as being patient is pay attention. When those interactions do happen, pay attention. Yeah. Don't just hey, y'all go play with the dogs. No, pay attention.
Yeah.
What is your dog trying to tell you? Are their eyes wide? If you can see white in your dog's eyes, they're afraid, right? If their ears are pinned back, they're afraid or
they're in drive.
Or they're in drive, right?
Because
tails tucked. There's some really easy signs, right? But I'll go back to my initial, pay attention. Every dog's body language is very, very different.
And here's the other
thing. Your dog.
And here's the other thing, right? Like when you're introducing babies to dogs, right? I typically, right? Like the way that I structure that is I would hold the baby and with a foot, right? Like invite the dog in to sniff a foot, right? That baby's odor exists on the foot as much as it exists on the face. Right. So I hold my, I did this with Gabe whenever he was little. I would hold my baby in the crook of my arm, just like everybody holds babies, right? We hold babies right here. And it is so good.
One of the best things of this entire lifetime. Right? Yep. Besides them falling asleep on your chest right here.
Man, when they fall asleep on your chest.
I hope that's what happens when I go to heaven.
Dude, you can tell we're dads. Right? But anyway, whenever I go to heaven, that's all I want is I want my kid to fall asleep on my chest.
And Molly's head right here on my shoulder.
100%, right? Like one of my dogs, just kick over the other side. Sure. But I hold my kid this way, right? And his feet dangle out here, right? And that's the place where I want to introduce my dog, right? I want to introduce my dog to where if my dog does have a bad reaction, I need to do something different. It's a foot, right? It's a much more hardy surface than anything else I can give him, right? Beside that, right? I want to meter that interaction a little bit. So even there, what I've recommended lots and lots of couples do over time, because as a dog trainer, this is one of the most called upon thing, right? It's I'm freaking out. This is happening. My wife's worried. Everybody's worried, and you should be.
And you should be. And
this is not opportunistic.
Absolutely. Right? Well, and it's one of those things that's look, I can deal with a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm not dealing with a dog that bites my kid.
Right. So
understood.
Here's the other thing, right? Here's the other thing, right? Is when we have that initial interaction, right? It's on loose leash. It's still on leash. Right? It's still on leash.
Which is important. Why?
Well, there's a couple of things that the leash taps into, right? It taps into a leadership dynamic. It taps into an acquiescence dynamic, and it taps into because it's been present through so much training, it taps into all the training that's been previous there.
Understanding that there has been training before. Right? With the understanding that there has been training before.
Head home to a dog and you haven't done any professional training, hear it from a professional. Please go seek even a PetSmart class. Please just go run through and make sure that the vocabulary that you have with your dog is the vocabulary that you need before you bring your kid home to your dog.
And what's important about the vocabulary, what's important about you having them on the loose leash, like you mentioned, I love that idea. Setting boundaries. You're setting boundaries. When you're on leash, you have a physical boundary. From my perspective, that's how you teach physical boundaries, or one of the ways you can teach physical boundaries.
I'm looking at an ordering issue there, right? Where I'm like, hey, listen, whenever I put you on leash, you acquiesce to authority, right? And so like you give to me, right? I'm going to walk you in the same way that if I'm a good trainer and I'm a good handler, or if I'm a good owner and I've done training, the same way that I've introduced you to lots of other things in our environment so that you're not afraid, I'm going to ask you to come in and say hello to this the same way that I've asked you to say hello to, I don't know, everything in the hardware store, everything, in Michael's, everything in Dick's. Everything that I can possibly introduce you to, I'm going to introduce you to in the same way.
And that is so important.
Yeah.
Introduction.
Yeah.
We as a society have this idea, and I get as many calls about, I hear this as much as I hear anything else, is I've had labs my entire life. I've never had a lab like this. I've had German Shepherds my entire life. I've never seen this behavior. Buddy,
This dog's not that
buddy,
dogs.
you didn't introduce this dog to his world in the proper way because you expected him to behave like all those other dogs. That's exactly what happened. That's why you're about to pay me money.
Dude.
Introduce your dog to the world in a way that they understand, understanding that they experience the world differently than you do. They experience the world through their nose, right? This control that you're talking about control, right? With the leash, with introductions. It's building that leader follower mentality. If I tell you I'm the leader, you're the follower, you're going to feel a certain way, right? He will not
have reason.
He will not.
Inspired.
He thinks differently. When I say, hey, I'm in charge here and all you have to do is listen and I'm going to give you every single thing you need. You know what he's going to do?
No sweat.
Yes, sir.
Bro,
Absolutely. Yeah, it was crisp, huh?
Come on,
Absolutely.
Bro. Come on, bro. Let's go.
Right up to the forehead.
Let's go.
Dogs appreciate and need that leader follower mentality. And when you bring a child into the relationship, they need it even more. Absolutely. That's why this topic is important. That's why this topic is so important to us and to others.
I agree.
And so when you bring that child in, or opposite, right? Whatever the situation is, you bring a dog in, you bring a child in, that is your opportunity, if you haven't yet, to start establishing some boundaries.
No,
I have a question.
Physical and otherwise.
Heather has a question. Heather, what's your question? Today?
Yeah. So, I'm thinking about what you're saying. And you said loose leash, right? And the importance of having a loose leash, right? But, sometimes leashes aren't loose. And sometimes there are plenty of interactions that, you see online and whatnot with people with smaller dogs that don't necessarily hang out on the leash a lot because, hey, the dog lives in the house all the time and I can just hold him in my hands. Like, what's the big deal?
You're talking about a whole nother topic.
We're in big rules now.
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic.
The loose leash versus other kinds of restraint. Why the loose leash versus other kinds of restraint? A taut leash
response,
or holding the dog, or because you see where they're holding the dog back.
She's talking about opposition reflex.
She is, right?
You're talking about opposition reflex. Frustration building. She's also talking about dogs that are spoiled. Because if you believe that your dog doesn't need a leash, you're wrong. Not your dog. You are.
Ooh.
Period.
Oh, hold on.
I don't care how old you're. I don't care how old. I don't care. I don't care how big your dog is. If you're carrying your dog around or putting him in a cart, putting him in a carrier, you're wrong. Period.
Stroller.
They are physical beings, energetic beings that need physical exercise.
They want a stroller.
Get them out of there. Put them on the ground and let them walk. They need physical exercise. Pugs, these little bitty tiny animals. Yorkies. They still need exercise.
And
they don't need to be carried around. They don't need to be
clothes or bows.
Because you know what happens?
They don't need your emotional baggage.
Yes, because you know what happens. When you treat a dog like a baby, that dog isn't being treated like a baby. They're being treated like a king or queen.
Say it again, dude.
Okay.
It was like a tyrant.
A king or a queen. And so
people have
when
a
king or yes, and yes, they do. This is why we make money.
This is why we make money.
But if you are treating your dog like a king or a queen, right, thinking that you are giving them everything that they want, right? Which let's talk about the difference between need and want one day. But if you were giving your dog everything they want and treating them like a king or queen, why in the hell are they going to listen to you?
Right.
You are their servant. Feed my meal and pick up my shit, Linda. Duh. Stop telling me to sit and stop. If I want to bite this baby, I'm going to bite this baby. Sorry, did I?
You guys haven't been drinking that much today.
There's a sound bite out there that says, if I want to bite this baby, I'm going to bite this baby that is coming. Right? Like, dude, I know our producer, and I know who puts together our shorts. And if I want to bite this baby, I'm going to bite this baby's inbound.
Linda.
Right? It's inbound, bro.
Fuck you, Linda.
But also,
I actually don't know what I do. Sorry.
The reality of the situation is how you socialize your dogs and how you generalize your dogs to behavior and environment is massively important to this idea, right? The idea that, hey, listen, when we're looking at this, right, let's be very, very clear and very honest about what we're doing. We're introducing what is, especially if the dog was raised around only adults and has had no early puppyhood experience with children, right? We are raising a child around an opportunistic predator who doesn't recognize it as one of us.
Yes.
Right. And that's massively important. And it doesn't matter if the child is a toddler or if the child is 10 years old.
And that recognition that this is something outside of my pack,
right,
makes it something dangerous by nature psychologically in the dog's mind.
And pack drive is massively important.
Pack drive is massively important, especially when you add to the pack, right? Because in a dog's mind, and I hope you don't mind that I jump in here, but like in a dog's mind, it is preservation of self, preservation of pack, right? So preservation of self comes first. Preservation of pack comes immediately after. When dogs, if we're going to bring something else into the pack, what is a dog thinking of? How does this pack member assist me? Right? A baby doesn't really do that.
Not really.
At all.
No.
And so there are going to be some questions of like,
How is this baby not going to get us caught on the hunt? That's what I really want to know.
You're exactly right. When you get to the core of it, is this thing a liability? Right. And then that's not that. And let's say like we're talking about this theoretically, right? Sure. Your dog is not thinking these things. I understand that. But there is something instinctive inside of them that is very much trying to balance this like addition to their pack.
Yeah.
And so I think that's very, very pointed.
And here's the thing, right? Is like when we look at babies and we look at dogs' perspective, could we also say, Chris, that we're now in competition for resource?
Oh, buddy, are you not? Not you, him.
Yeah.
Let me go back to Beignet.
Yeah.
Right, Beignet, this 5-year-old doodle I have in my home. Her entire life has changed. Right, yeah. Dad. I really hope you're not upset that I say this. Dad has gained 40 pounds because he doesn't get to walk anymore, right?
That's right.
He doesn't have that opportunity to go out and walk with Beignet. Right. So to Dad, that means one thing. To Beignet, that means a whole nother thing.
Did Dad actually like gain 40 pounds because he can't walk anymore?
Might be sympathy weight.
I was going to say, or did he
I gained like
every time she ate?
I ate a lot of my kids. Yeah, I ate a lot of my kids' treats. Yeah. And a lot of other things. But
I was just picking.
It's called sympathy weight.
It is.
You're welcome, Heather.
I call meal pregnancy weight.
Yeah. But anyway,
pregnancy weight, seriously?
Yeah,
it's called a sympathy. He was being sympathetic to you.
Nope, you heard me.
It's habit because he was used to eating every time I ate. And when I needed to eat more, he continued to eat.
This is
and
favorite.
He
was trying to help you. You should be saying thank you.
This is and at least 8 pounds
whatever
of that
she's saying. Whatever she's saying is no, and I don't care because the reality of the situation is this, okay? Right? Like you didn't want to eat alone the entire time. And so I never made you feel self-conscious about eating more. Aren't I a good
sound really sweet.
So not only
I've never had a problem eating alone or even going out to eat by myself if I felt like it. So that's a nice try.
You know I'm leaving. You know I'm leaving after this, right? Okay. All right.
This is fine.
I hate this new computer, by the way, Heather. I cannot see your face, and I hate it.
Oh, it's a big screen. I didn't understand it. But guys, take it for what it is. When we get back to this, and this is the other feedback that I got as we walk into season 2, is that by the end of the show,
not just that we drank too much.
Yeah, well, it's by the end of the show, you guys get a little sloppy and off topic. So let's bring it back, right? So here's here's the answer. When you're introducing dogs, right, to babies especially, we don't hold them out. When we introduce shelter dogs to young kids, we don't like ask them to walk up. whenever I bring a shelter dog even into my home, right? Whenever I have a dog with something that I value more, right? And this is just like at the base of this for me, right? So like, if I bought a new car, I wouldn't walk my dog up to the car and be like, look at all the things, and expect him to jump on it and run his claws down it, right? Like, that's not a thing that I'm going to do. And so I don't want to do that with kids in any way, either, right? And the dog needs my support in this place. And this is probably the thing for me as a dog trainer that's like really, really interesting, right? And I'm not going to say it's like a higher value for me or anything like that, but I'm going to say this is an interesting dynamic in dog training. The dog is stressed out by the new happening, whether it's a new child, a new car, a new TV, whatever the heck is changing in their
new routine, new smells.
The dog is kind of like, what is that? And they need to be able to investigate it, right? But we also want to make sure that we have, to our earlier point, some safety and some safeguards in place to ensure that whatever it is that's happening has a safety in place to make sure that like it can't get real bad, right? I will tell you that like if my dog Ajax would have grabbed my son's foot, like whole mouth grip kind of thing, yeah, that's real bad. But chances of that happening are like
minimal,
great, right?
Minimal. It's usually mistakes.
Right. And so it usually comes in like when the baby really starts to cruise, when the baby starts.
Well, the baby wants to go up and show love and like, I love you.
It's a non-malicious engagement that says, hey, like pulling on a dog is not comfortable for the dog. It can be painful for the dog. It's non-malicious from the baby's perspective or the child's perspective, all the way up to 11 at bare minimum, right? Like it's my 10-year-old's perspective that he wants to squish my dog back and forth like this. Well, if your dog doesn't like that, I saw here locally, and I won't necessarily call these folks out, right? But like here locally, I saw a thing a couple of years ago with an Irish Terrier where it's like, hey, the Irish Terrier like sometimes will like nip at us when we come near his food, or, you know, he'll nip at us whenever like things get like excited in the house, right? And I go over and I do a series of training and I do a series of interview, because like every training opportunity for a professional dog trainer is an interview, right? What's going on? Why is it happening? What do you think's contributing? Like, how's that working out? Hey, we did this last week. How's this week going? It's an interview process every time, right? Like every time you meet with a client, like you're going to ask some questions, right? And as it turns out, like up until the kid's real interaction with this, dad like pushes the dog away and then grabs the dog's tail and drags him back to him, right? Which sounds like, oh, maybe that's fun, right? Except it's horrible for the dog, right? And so like we have this engagement with this animal that like we don't recognize from an empathetic standpoint, that like the dog's not like loving, right? And then when the dog becomes aggressive, we don't understand. But the entire engagement from the human standpoint, even from the dad, who I could make the argument should have known better, right? Didn't, right? And we have this non-malicious engagement that ends up with the dog trying to correct people away from them and create more security around them. When your dog feels insecure, and any change in their environment, I would posit this idea: any change in their environment can create insecurity, right? So like
insecurity in dogs is a really, really big thing that we should talk about as well. Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But like, you know, like I've had clients call me and go, hey, I have a lot of construction around my house, and all of a sudden my dog started to act in ways that they've never acted before. Of course, because like
it's a new change. Absolutely.
Right. You have a lot more people around here than you used to have. Right. Like you can say,
stop
if you want to, you know, but like, you know, all these things, right, that are like, hey, like this is what's happening. Right. And it's like, yeah, well, like take it for what it is, dude. Like your dog's reacting to its environment. Right.
So I can cut this down to a very, very baseline, catching it at the bottom level, right? What are we here for dogs? Like when we bring a dog into our home, right? What are we here for them for? Not necessarily why did we bring a dog in, but like, what does that dog need from us? Freedom and safety, right? Safety and freedom, and we're balancing those things. Your dog needs guidance and support. That's it. Your dog needs guidance in what is correct behavior, what is incorrect behavior, and it needs support in dealing with these new environments. But if you don't have the guidance portion, right? If you don't say, hey, this is how we behave in our life, right? If you don't have that at the baseline, then when you get an upheaval in life, whether it's a baby or construction or whatever it is, you move, right? Your mom moves in with you, whatever it is, then of course your dog is going to be stressed. But if you don't already have that baseline of guidance of like, no, buddy, this is how it works. One of the things I really like telling all my clients is like, you need to be consistent. Period. No matter what's happening. Because if not, what your dog is going to learn that there are rules to this game, right? This game of life, this game of living with humans. Most of what dogs do are game related because they always just want to have fun. And so if your dog learns that in this game that the rules apply unless they're excited or unless there's a change, or unless this happens. No. The rules are the rules, man, right? You don't react to anything. Listen, you don't growl, you don't bark, you don't jump, you don't jump on people, right? If I use one of your vocabulary words, you do what you know you're supposed to do. These are the rules of living with me. That's why every time you tell him down, even though that you're staring at me, he lays down because he knows these are the rules.
But take it for what it is. We just saw in this place, everything you just walked through happened with my own personal dog. He came over to you and you were like, go away, right? And what did he do? He effed off. And he came over and he solicited affection from me. And I went, yeah, dude, I'll love your face for a minute because I'm your dad.
He knows we're talking about him. He knows we're talking about him.
Right? But like, yeah, dude, I'll love your face because I'm your dad. And then I'm going to ask you to lay down, right? And I use French with him. So like, if you've heard me say couche.
And that is structure.
Or whatever, right?
And guidance.
It's structure and like good boundaries that say, hey, this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do it. And if you guys noticed, even in the video, because I know you saw him, right? Because you see the whiskey and he's taller than that. And so like, I know that you guys recognize that like, yeah, I asked him for the thing. He did the thing. When he gave me a little pushback on asking, I looked at him and was like, right? And then he went into it. But the reality of the situation is that that value system is massively important.
Yes.
I heard to speak to the thing that you were just talking about, you were talking about consistency, right? And one of the brilliant things that happens with dog training, right, is that oftentimes we end up in communities of dog trainers. And so like club work is what we call it, right? But like PSA or IGP or any dog sport, like AKC Rally, AKC Fetch, Up Dog, right? Like we all end up with massive dog enthusiasts that are like pushing good dog training often, right? And one of the things that hit my club page this morning that just works right in here. If you are 50% consistent with your animal, you'll get 50% reproducible response, right? So like when you reproduce response at 50%, only half the time you're going to be happy with them. So if you change the rules constantly around their engagement with kids and dogs, right?
And when you say change the rules, that's an important thing. You're not actively like saying, hey, the rules are changed. No, you're letting them get away with stuff because you're not paying attention. Right. And so if life is busy, your life is busy. Yep. If you are busy and you have a new dog and a new child, or however this works out in your situation, right? If you're busy, let the dog go hang out in the kennel. Because you don't have control of the situation. You're not going to be able to teach them what you expect of them. Yeah. And that dog is going to start learning bad behaviors and bad habits.
If there's one thing that we could say over the last year of doing this podcast, right, for the first year, is that we have over and over and over again dove into the intentionality and the proactivity of dog ownership.
Yeah.
Right. And like, if you can't be proactive and intentional in that moment, not in your overall engagement, right, but in that moment, right, I would say manage the dog in a different perspective. Like, you use the den space, you use the kennel, use the den. Like, let that dog go lay down and relax, right? whether he lays down on your couch, whether he lays down on a bed, whether he lays down on his dog bed, whether he lays down in the middle of the floor, or whether he lays down in the kennel, is still like that dog's going to go lay down.
It's irrelevant. Yeah. It's building a bit of structure and guidance and control.
Right. And those things are important whenever we're dealing with high value, right?
Well, and especially when there's a massive change, as in bringing a child in,
Right.
And every single day that child grows. Every day
there's going to be different, and that's something we haven't really jumped into. Like
kids get scarier and scarier every day.
Yeah, you're exactly right. A 3-year-old is terrifying to a dog. A 3-year-old boy is a terrifying thing to a dog.
But take this for what it is. Even past that, right? Like the proactivity is our job, right? The ability to make everyone safe is our job. It's our job as parents. It's our job as pet parents, right? That like what we really want to create, what we really want to curate is an environment where everyone's fulfilled, right?
Yep.
And in that fulfillment, we have to understand and regulate like some of those boundaries so that it's like, hey, if I'm cooking dinner and I want my toddler out on the floor for tummy time, I'm also not going to have my dog out, right? Like that's not going to happen. I'm going to put him away during this time because I can only pay attention to one of these variables at the time, right? Take it for what it is. Cooking is a variable itself, right? And so pushing back across, the proactivity portion of this is so massively important because the reality of the situation is what we really want is we want a reproducible, safe result, right? And in that, right, we have to plan for those things, right? And it does not matter whether it's a golden retriever, a Belgian Malinois, a Doberman, or a King Charles Cavalier Smith.
Charles.
And like King Charles are dope, as it turns out. Well, like they're probably the most unadulterated.
They're like the opposite of a Belgian Malinois.
They really are. They're like the most unadulterated companion breed ever, right? Because like even some of our companion breeds have like drive. You know what I mean? Shih Tzus have like some defensive drive.
Terrible. Don't get a Shih Tzu.
Don't get a Shih Tzu. But like,
let's just throw the humane side. The humane side of South Mississippi has a bunch of them right now that just got and they're beautiful. I just saw them the other day. They're beautiful.
Please jump on their
beautiful
website and adopt one. They're a massive high kill shelter, unfortunately, that put down 130 dogs a month. It's really unfortunate. But the reality of the situation is you can help. But in this conversation that we're having is like, pay attention to these things and be intentional. And if you have questions, call a dog trainer, right? Make sure that they have certification, affiliation with a larger body, right? Like that's important. Like AKC, CCPDT, IACP, all important, organizations to make sure that your dog that your trainer has some affiliation, and that you should be listening to them, right? Other than that, there's a lot of people that get stuck behind dog trainers that are dog trainers, right? That like have proved that they're dog trainers to nobody but them, right? And that's a place where like I get worried for people because like if you can't prove your ideas to somebody else, they're just yours, right? You've got AKC affiliation. I've got CCPDT affiliation. Like all these things are places in which we proved our knowledge and our understanding to somebody else. That's the other thing that I would say in this industry that we're working in now in 2025, there are many, many people who have lost their jobs in other sectors that go, I grew up with dogs my whole life. Of course I can be a dog trainer. And because we're unregulated in the United States, I would say, hey, pay attention to what those certifications are, where that person has been there. And this is one of the biggest deals, right? Is like the number of reviews that you can find on that individual before you engage them. If they're starting out, they're going to be honest about that often and go, hey, man, I'm just starting out. Like I might not have a lot of reviews, right? That's incumbent upon them. But at the outset, right? Like somebody like Chris, somebody like myself, somebody like 85 other dog trainers that I could name in person, right? That have great experience doing this in person, right? Those are the people that you want to look for. We talked about how to train it, like how to not train, but like how to pick a dog trainer early in this podcast, right? Go back to that, read all those, or listen to all those criteria, look at all those criteria previously, and really imbibe that stuff, because this is one of the places in introducing any unfamiliar dog, whether it's, hey, I'm bringing a baby home to a dog, whether it's, hey, I'm bringing shelter dogs home to kids, like that's a place where like having somebody who's been through this, knows this, and understands the whole context of what's happening, the value system in place becomes very important. Would you agree?
With which part? All of it?
Yeah.
Yes. Pay attention to who you're listening to. More importantly, pay attention to your dog. If you are having issues, yes, it is very, very, very important to make sure that you're getting help from someone that actually knows what they're doing, not somebody that lost their job at PetSmart and wants to train dogs. I'm seeing it more and more and more. All over the place.
And as our economy continues to decline in this place, I think we're going to see more because it's unregulated.
Because it's easy money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy money. Oh, I'm a dog trainer. Yeah, I've trained plenty of dogs. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Where did you train dogs before? Well, I grew up with dogs. I'm done.
Saw a post today about somebody starting a business. I've loved dogs my entire life. I have 3 of them. That doesn't make you a dog trainer.
That didn't make you a dog trainer.
That doesn't make you a dog trainer. No, absolutely.
It should be an authority in the industry.
Well, on this
Pay attention to
topic
your
too,
dog
like-
and have questions ready. Like if you call Evan, if you call me, you should have some questions for me.
Yeah.
Right? Not just, hey, what are you going to do for my dog? No. What does your dog need?
Dude, my
right?
favorite-
And
my
this is
favorite
this is a really
like,
cool
hey, how
topic.
much
Like,
does
hey,
this
I'm bringing a dog in. I'm bringing a dog in with like kids. That's a really great question. How is this going to affect my life? That's a really great question to have ready for them. And if they don't have an answer, right? Well, no, I use an e-collar. That's not an answer to your question.
That's not an answer.
It's not an answer. I'm going to train the dog to sit when I tell it to sit. That's not an answer.
Great.
How is this dog? How are you going to help me fit this dog into my lifestyle?
Absolutely.
Right. So again, the proactivity of what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Be proactive in this. This is not a child, but it is the equivalent of bringing a child into your life. Right. You are responsible
Especially if
for
you're
them.
adopting a dog into a family situation, right? If you are
So
bringing a child into a family situation, it's a little different, but same, right? We're like, we want to make sure we have all the information. We want to make sure that we understand, the scientific method and how this is working. We want to understand like how these functions are really like walking out, right? Heather had a
yeah, sorry, Heather. I
no,
cut
it's
you
okay.
off. I'm sorry.
Well, on this topic, I was also going to add in, like, if you're looking for a dog trainer and your concern is integrating the baby and the dog, like, ask them that specific, like, their specific experience with that dynamic. Because one of the other things that, you can run across is like, I'm not going to be necessarily that person that's like, if you don't have kids, you can't understand. But in this way, if you've never worked with dogs and babies in any capacity before, you can't completely understand like the way the dynamic has shifted. Like you can kind of like get it like intellectually, but like several of our trainers have had kids. Several of the ones that haven't had kids have been around enough for it, or like have that touchstone back to like dogs and babies. But like some of them, whenever they first started, wouldn't know what to do. And it's a really specifically different kind of thing dealing with babies and dogs, and the idea of like, what does it take having either, let alone both?
So that's like really fair, because like as K-Pro, we have like lots of dog trainers that work for us, and not everybody's had kids, right? And this is where a lot of that interjection is coming from, for sure, is that like some of these folks that have never had kids of their own, right, can't quite put themselves in the position to understand how to do this.
You can't.
Right?
Yeah.
So guys, listen, when we're talking about these things, right? And we're walking through like, how should we do? What should we do? How should we go? What the base of this is, we need to be pretty proactive. Would you agree?
You need to be proactive and also understand that there is not one single answer for everyone. This is the same. It's the same thing as raising kids. I can't tell you how to raise your kid because I don't know your kid. I don't know your belief value. I don't know how you live, right? You train your dog. You should train your dog the way you live. You train your dog the way you live.
Yeah.
You are teaching your dog how to live with you. That's it. Like if you can do that, if you can teach your dog how you want them to live with you, you're never going to have to train them.
No.
Period.
Yep.
So the same way that we are kind of training our kids, right? Yeah. Teaching our kids, and this is how you live life. This is how you live in this household. No, we're going to brush our teeth every night. We're going to go to bed every night at 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock or whatever it is. We're going to eat dinner as a family, right? No, this is the rules of our household. The same idea applies to your dog. No, we're going to eat breakfast here. We're going to go on a walk. I'm going to give you what you need. But you're not allowed to jump on me. Period. You're just not.
Say it again.
You're not allowed to. It's not a big event. It's not a big thing. Oh my God, my dog's jumping. No, you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah. It's just punch my dog for it. It's that I'm going to ignore the fact that he did it.
And I'm going to offer that guidance and that support and like, hey, no, guidance. You're not allowed to do this. Support. This is what we do instead.
Yeah.
And I think that's extremely important to do for a dog when your dog comes into your home, whether you have a new child or not. Mm-hmm. But it also transfers over to these are lessons that you can learn that help you be a parent.
I agree.
Correct. And so when we talk about this topic, and let's close it out.
Yeah.
As we close this topic out, there's a lot to be learned from your dog that will help you be a better dad or mom. But you have to actually put in the time, you have to put in the energy, you have to put in the effort, and understand that dog is not just going to adapt naturally. They need your help in the same way that child is not just going to learn naturally. They are going to need your help, right? Every child that comes at Gabe is not the Gabe that you know because you just let him do his thing.
I didn't pin a $20 bill to his collar and wish him the best of luck.
You
tell you that.
Taught him at every stage of his life how to behave at that stage of his life. The dogs are the same way. Teach that dog or puppy at the stage that they are at how to behave at that stage and in the home that they have found themselves in.
Guys, so when we talk about bringing dogs...
Can we fucking cheers that?
Yeah, we can cheers the fuck out of that. That was wet. But like, when we talk about bringing dogs home on, dude, let me just give...
That was a good one.
Shout out to like freaking Horse Soldier because like that's fire, right?
I love it.
But when we talk about bringing kids and dogs
soppy pancake,
the need for specific engagement, the need for intentionality, the need for proactivity, find a trainer, find somebody near you, find somebody reputable, find somebody with third-party certification. Those things are so massively, massively important so that you can like negate all the variables that might undermine your effort, right? So like we have all these things that come up that we don't have the answers to, especially as parents. We do this all the time. We have all these things that come up that might undermine our effort for success in life, right? In those places, drive into experts, drive into literature, drive into the understanding of what we're looking at and how we engage it. So massively, massively important. And do not take any undue risk with your children. Yes, we love our dogs. And right before our child was born, they were like the most important thing other than our significant other in the world. But as soon as your child is in your arms for the first time,
everything changes.
Every parent is agreed. Everything changes.
Mm-hmm. And your dog feels it.
And so like...
And you have to be graceful to that.
Your dog goes from number 2 to you and your wife, or you and your significant other, right? Like
to number 17.
To number 17. Because actually it's more important that I feed this dude. It's more important that I change this dude than you. It's more important that we go for a walk in the park with this dude than you. It's more important that we go to daycare with this dude than you. It's more important that we do 85 other things that can't be infringed and that are massively important for human life to continue on this globe than our dog.
And Beignet feels it.
Right? Beignet feels it. Ajax back
felt it. Day, yep. Right? And you didn't, and that's not to say you did anything wrong.
No, it just is what it is.
But they feel it.
Yeah, they feel it because they felt their status shift. we talk about this all the time in differential treatment between dogs, that like some dogs can recognize when other dogs have a larger value system than they do, right? Even in their own home, it's like a favorite child
Jealousy. Yeah.
or
You can
like
use
the
it to your
baby
advantage.
in a string of siblings.
Or like
The
Winston
baby,
being able to get on the couch when no one else is be able to get on the couch.
Oh, couch privileges, right?
Yeah. Hate it.
So
like-
hey, I just have to throw it here.
feel it. Oh,
While
last minute
I
throws. Let's go.
completely understand what you mean about the first time you hold them in your arms, I would definitely have to like push back a little bit for women in that as soon as you feel like that, you know, people stumble over their dogs all the time. As soon as you start to feel like your stomach is so big and your movement is so cumbersome that you're going to trip and fall and really hurt yourself, or that anything they can do can really mess up your stomach, that's when it starts for us.
Dude, you know what? I would have never given that, but thank you, Heather, for that little piece.
Absolutely.
And hear me out, guys. Like when we look at this, Pete, come here. Come see me. When we look at this, I don't devalue my animal, right, in this place. But
It's understanding
ask
them.
me- if you
It's understanding
ask
what they're actually going through.
right, if you put me in like a Saw movie situation where I had to choose between my son and my dog, my son wins.
Oh, 110% of the
Right?
time.
And don't get me wrong, like I've made my life with these guys, right? I've made my life with these dogs. But the reality of the situation is that like I choose my kid 80.
110% of the time.
And you shouldn't feel bad about that. If you're a new parent, especially, or if you're a parent that is bringing a new dog into your situation, right? Like, please put them on leash, keep good control, be patient to your point, be patient about their interaction. Walk it out over time.
Just give them guidance on what you expect.
Give them guidance on what you expect, hold good boundaries. And guys, as always, train happy.
Keep smiling.
Joining us at Whiskey and Wolves.
Love you
Cheers,
guys.
dude. I got one little sip left. You ready?
A tiny bit.
Cheers. Horse soldier, we thank you for the day. And my mom was going to say the same thing about this one as she said about the first one is, son, you get a little sloppy at the end. And I keep on telling her the same thing. Ma, it's called Whiskey and Wolves for a
Fuck
reason.
you, Mom.
Yeah, I don't say that. I say, Mom, it's called Whiskey and Wolves for a reason. Guys, thanks so much. Like, subscribe, follow, and share with your friends, man. Like, we're dealing with this at this point, debunking the bunking dog training from a perspective of let's hang out and talk about dog stuff.
Evan's mom's, I'm sorry.
And,
I didn't mean it.
Evan's mom, I love you. Cheers, bro. Cheers. Join us next
Love
time,
you.
guys. Whiskey and Wolves. Like, subscribe, follow.